100 days of Trump 2.0, and we at NDTV have been bringing you all the insights, perspectives, stories and views that matter, that help decide, decode what is the relationship between India and US till now, how it has benefited and what is the roadmap ahead. On your screens are some numbers that really encapsulate what the Trump presidency has been all about. That tells you the number of bills passed, the executive orders that have been signed, where those executive orders have been prioritized, and of course also the number of times that some of these issues have landed the Trump administration in courts. And in fact, on your screens, we are going to first, over the course of the next 30 minutes, we are now going to focus on the two important issues, which is trade and immigration, the two issues that really are at the heart of the impact that New Delhi has faced from the Trump administration. Trade first, because this administration views trade at the very center of any bilateral relationship. And before I go any further, I want to play out this soundbite by President Trump on the trade deal with India that is progressing rapidly.
India is coming along great. I think we'll have a deal with India. The Prime Minister, as you know, was here 3 weeks ago, and they want to make a deal. We'll see what happens. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Danny Gaekwad, Mr. Bharat Barai, and in fact, Mr. Srini and Raghavan are with me to talk more about, well, the two aspects of the India relationship, the trade and the immigration part of it. We just heard President Trump where he said that a deal with India is likely to happen fairly soon. Treasury Secretary has said that it could be the first off the block, really. And Dr. Barai, thank you so much for joining me right now. Very good morning to you as well, sir. Let me start by asking you, how much of a breakthrough will this be for the India-US relationship? If the trade deal is done and dusted and prioritized and finished, will it then allow the relationship to probably move forward and address some of the other issues as well?
Yes, psychologically, yes. India, Japan and South Korea, they are trying to work out the deal, and I hope India is the first one to do it. It will not only help India's manufacturing, but it will also improve the relationship. You know, the government of India under Prime Minister Modi has taken a very wise approach. Instead of trying to have knee-jerk type of reaction that, oh, if you impose tariffs on us, we are also going to impose counter tariffs on you, they took a smart approach, negotiated the deal, and now if the deal is negotiated and India has much lower tariffs or no tariffs, depending upon what it comes out, many of the manufacturing industries will try to shift to India because when they export to USA, they will have much lower duty or no duty. I heard that Apple is trying to move all the manufacturing of the iPhones, which will be exported to USA from China to India. So that's a very smart move on part of government of India, and I hope it is successful. And when you are cooperating in the trade, it also fosters a general relationship between the two countries, will help in immigration, will help in defense, it will help in every area.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. And in fact, let me put that across to Mr. Gaekwad as well, which is that when we are talking about some of the other aspects of this deal and the trade relationship being at the center of it, okay, I think there's an audio issue. We're going to fix that in just a bit. And I'm also going to, in fact, get in US ISPF expert in just a bit to talk more about the trade aspect also. But Mr. Raghavan, I want to understand from you, when we talk about the trade deal with India, the fact that it is in its final stages of closure, what do you think is the kind of messaging and impact this will have on the larger India-US relationship?
Thank you, Gaurie, and good morning, good evening to everybody. I think tremendous is the word. It's going to have a tremendously positive impact, and I think being first to the table, like Mr. Bharat was pointing out, I think was the key, right? You can see this dichotomy, India really wanting to play a positive role, and obviously the relationships between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi are a catalyst. So that's very, very observable, right? But once you have that, I think India putting the hard work and along with the US to try to really make this a fair deal for both, I think will have a hugely positive impact, not just on trade, but I think overall cooperation. Because again, you got to view trade in just not the context of trade, but overall geopolitics. It's a flow of money, essentially, right? So if we can, as India, take a better position and come in and probably beat China, which I don't see any signs from China to making a trade so far, I think it'll cut off a lot of the money route. With a lot of the geopolitical conflicts going on, whether it's Pakistan or whether it's Russia, I mean, we don't have to say it, but you know who's behind a lot of this stuff or where the money is flowing from. So I think it will have hugely positive consequences. India is obviously going to shoot up to the top of the radar, and I think India will become a major force, major ally within the South Asia region for the US.
That's exactly what I wanted to understand. I'm going to speak to Mark Lingscott in just a bit about the nitty-gritties of the trade deal. But this is a conversation that is focused on trying to understand the larger ramification of getting that trade deal done early on in the administration. Which brings me to ask the other issue, Dr. Barai, which is something that the Indian American community has also been facing and dealing. That is the issue related to immigration. It impacts India on many levels, whether it's the F1s, visas, whether it is the H1B, or in fact, even senior citizens being impacted, those who spent outside of the US 180 days or more. How do you see that issue, sensitive, contentious, politically important at the same time, being addressed between the two sides?
This has been way overblown. There are very small number of people who are affected. Either those people who stupidly participated in demonstration in front of the Hamas terrorists at the universities, and you are talking about maybe few. Most of the Indian Americans, and there are 5.5 million of us in the United States, they are feeling fine and we have no effect whatsoever. F1 visa, again, they are going to be issued to the Indian students just like before. Visitors visa are going to be issued to the Indians just like before. Yes, there will be scrutiny, and those people who are participating in anti-US propaganda, they will be scrutinized and probably not offered the visa. But that's not what 99.9% of the Indians do. So I think this issue is way overblown. Yes, there were illegals who were coming from Mexico border, some from Canada border. They are not coming anymore because they realize what will be the consequences. And really, no country should allow illegal immigration. India, we are very sure about the Bangladeshi illegals that have migrated. So is USA very sure about the illegals. And not only they migrate illegally from those borders, they also bring drugs, they bring the crime and many other things. So I don't think that that is going to affect the Indian Americans. In fact, if there is a successful trade deal between USA and India, India will be looked as a very favorable country that is easy to negotiate and come to a rational agreement. And that might actually increase the visas and opportunities for Indians coming to USA.
Dr. Barai, that's a very important point that you've made, and we're going to try and put that out as well for our viewers who are joining in right now to understand the larger impact of this conversation, which is that if a negotiation happens early, there are early pacts being signed, the perception that goes out is the deal making is not so cumbersome in India, which allows some of the other issues to also, or some of the other aspects of this relationship to also take off. Mr. Raghavan, then let me ask you about the visa-related, immigration-related issues that I put forth to Dr. Barai. How do you view those being impacted right now, given the fact that the sense one has in India is that whether it's F1s, whether it is H1Bs, India does get impacted quite significantly by some of these measures?
Absolutely. So I think there would be one thing that we should start with is that there has been a lot of fraud on the H1B side, right? So the F1, come here, do your work, do your studies, don't participate in unwanted stuff like all these protests and all that kind of stuff, right? So I think that is very clear. But as far as the H1B process is concerned and the fraud that has been discovered in that, I think that has been gone on for way too long. So I think the government is really trying to fix that, which which again, I mean, that is the prime motive and duty of the government is to fix those kind of things. So once that is fixed and once the process is streamlined, that plus all the positivity coming out of the deal making, I think will go accretive, and I think the process will become much smoother. I think with industry and trade partnerships going on, and I'll give you an example not related to software, for example, right? So if you look at EVs, electric vehicles, I mean, India is really expanding into electric vehicles. A lot of the bus fleets are getting converted and things like that. So we need more of EV manufacturing, EV technology, and all that in India. So cooperating with the US, which has been much, much ahead of India in that particular sphere, I think would be a very positive. So that will exchange a lot of talent back and forth. That will exchange a lot of industry back and forth, particularly in that sector. And I think to do that, you need more visas, right? So I think it will be overall a positive, Gaurie.
We indeed do need more visas and an open and more flexible policy with regard to legal immigrants. I think there is no dispute or disagreement when it comes to illegal immigrants. India took the entire flight back aircraft that came with the illegal immigrants because New Delhi is completely in sync with Washington when it comes to illegal immigrants. It's about the concerns regarding the legal immigrants that we are putting forth here. And Mr. Gaekwad, let me then bring that question to you as well about the issues related to legal immigrants. That's a concern here in New Delhi? Do you think it's being blown up disproportionately, or is that a view that people in Washington also share?
No, ma'am. I had a personal meeting with the immigration team. I attended last 4 seminars there. There is no India against any feelings or anything. But if country has a certain rule, then we have to follow them, nothing else. Matter of fact, India is the most favored. I still know India has the highest H-1B visas out of any country today. So if you look at the visitors, we are on the forefront. If you look at any other visa category, we are ahead. We have million plus H-1B visas people in America. So many country has. India has a clear advantage to work with America and not to criticize them and not put any stupid statements, because that will hurt us. Trump is very conscious. He's saying in a first term also that he want merit-based immigration, which I agree 100%. Because if we come with a merit-based immigration, we will be the most benefited, because we have a highly educated, from masters to PhDs to doctors, we have it.
Yes.
And that pool we can supply to the America with the American will.
Indeed.
So I think we have tremendous opportunity. Rather than we going in a little petty stuff, this guy is been sent back. Yeah, if you're illegal, we're going to send you back. I mean, which country wants illegal to stay in their country? And first of all, illegal has no rights. I want more rights for those who come on a legal immigration.
Correct.
Not illegal. I'm least concerned.
Correct.
And you said properly. Narendra Bhai Modi has decided to accept as many as illegal you found and he's taking.
Yes.
But in the same token, we are the only country is benefited as of today. So I think it's a great, I could even say balle balle.
Okay.
Best for India is ahead. Technology, they need it. They need arts and science. They need in every India.
Let me ask this to Dr. Barai.
Of Central
Dr.
Florida.
Barai, where do you see the balle balle actually coming to fruition the most?
It's hard to
it's
hear.
going to be coming to
I hope you can
fruition
hear
for
me.
both India and USA in all the aspects, not only in more issuance of visa under H-1B, student visa, visitors visa, but also in the defense deal. We need sensitive defense technology, high defense technology, because we have two neighbors, Pakistan, which is sending terrorists across in our country, and China, which is constantly trying to undermine India. So it's going to help us in getting the top-notch defense technology. It will help us in trade. We can certainly import more energy from USA. We can import more aircraft from USA. We can import more agricultural items from USA, as well as high-level technology items. So
Or
politically, militarily, educationally, trade-wise, it's a plus-plus deal for both India as well as USA.
indeed. And in fact, Mr. Raghavan, then let me ask you this as well in terms of some of those opportunities that Dr. Barai mentioned, a whole gamut of those opportunities, a positive view that may emerge for New Delhi after the trade pact being signed. Where do you see all this in terms of the larger geopolitical alignment as well? Because let's not forget, there's also a Quad meeting that will take place in India. Prime Minister Modi will chair that heads of state meeting. And the focus of that is expected to be greater alignment on strategic and security issues.
Absolutely. I think from again, as I alluded previously, I mean, the trade is just the starting of it, right? And it controls the money flow. And I think from a strategic military intelligence perspective, I mean, you've already seen after the attack in Pahalgam, both, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and FBI Director Kash Patel openly voicing their support in terms of, whatever data is needed, whatever intelligence is needed, US is with India. So I think that statement has been made clear, but it will only get clearer and louder as we go forward. Again, I think it's time that, and I'm sure China and Pakistan are taking note of this. But where I see a little bit of a rub is probably what's going to happen with Russia, right? With India importing so much of Russian oil, I'm sure that's part of the discussions. And going back to what Mr. Barai was saying, I think India importing more and more energy to offset that dependence is probably one of the top negotiation points, or at least one of the key negotiation points within the whole context of it. But as far as military technology is concerned, the military technology is concerned,
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can,
Yeah.
sir.
So
We
as
were
far
just amping up the audio of Prime Minister Modi and President Trump meeting of February 13. That was playing out in the background. But I take your point, and I want to put that across very quickly to Dr. Barai as we wrap things up, which is a very important point that Srini made about the fact purchase of Russian oil probably being the most sticking point where President Trump would be pushing for greater purchase of American energy by New Delhi.
Well, what has happened is, yes, once upon a time when the Russian oil was very cheap, going at $20 to $30 a barrel, India acted smartly in its own best interest and got it. But now that Russian oil is almost trading around $55 to $60 per barrel, we are not buying that much of quantity. Now the price has evened out, whether we buy it from America, whether we buy it from Middle East, or whether we buy it from Russia. And now if we are trying to balance the trade with the United States, this is one area where India can buy more oil, more natural gas from USA to try to bridge the trade gap that exists between the two countries. So I think it will be a very smart move.
Indeed, it will be. And on that note, I have to wrap this up. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Srini Raghavan joining me from Texas, Dr. Barai joining me from Chicago, and Mr. Gaekwad joining me from Florida.